My god. Hi guys. So we're gonna make a quick video on just psych, and I'm gonna go change because I'm cold. And I might come back and talk about in details about like some meds and stuff like that. But let's just kind of get the gist. Like, just get the gist, and then this might be the last video because I'm tired. But I might come back again. Yes. So when it comes to psychology in general, like psychology is just, I don't know, people who do psych, damn, like I give you some respect. Like respect. You definitely have to just know how to communicate with people. You have to think about what they might think if you say something without even thinking about it, if that makes sense. But anyway, let's go into the video. So in psychology, in general, psych. When I say psych, the psych sociology, interaction with people. Now I understand why when I was at Fitchburg State, I had to take psych, I had to take sociology, I had to take ethics. Now I see like why I really needed those in order to really like understand psych. But anyway, people interactions and knowing people's rights and just knowing when to say something and when not to say something. I mean, in college it's pretty easy to just be sociable and just know when to say something and not know when to say something. But anyway, I'm rambling. Okay, so in psych, the main thing, especially if you're providing services to someone, let's say you're getting paid to listen. Like if you're a therapist, I don't know their job like that, but I'm just talking about it in general, because I'm a nurse, and as a nurse, I'm interacting with people. I need to kind of think what they might be thinking, and I need to react a certain way. I need to have them earn my trust, things like that. So I'm not saying this to say, oh, as a psychologist, you know what I mean. Like it's just in general. So your goal when interacting with a patient, thinking about psychology, the brain, and how people behave is you want to give people information. Like your goal or your job is to give. If you're working as a psych nurse, your job is to provide, as a nurse in general, your job is to provide information. But if you're just kind of interacting with them and stuff, your job is just to provide information for them to make their own decisions. The whole thing about this is empowerment. You're just there as almost like a role model, but you're human, so you're almost there like a role model. You provide information like, okay, I see you mentioned that. Do you think maybe it's related to this? Not like I think. It's never I. In psych, it's never I think. It's never like, it's never your opinion. It's never, oh, this happened to me before, so I think you should do it this way. So it's always you just trying to give as much information as you can to somebody so that they can make their own choice. And it goes down with the word um, autonomy. So the whole point is to empower the person you're working with. It's like to just give them as much information, give them an insight, make them think, make them reflect. And when it comes to communication, it's the same thing. Like reflecting, having them reflect on what they just said, kind of like having them talk about the situation. Like, come on, go on, what next? Oh, like that type of stuff. Or kind of having them start with the conversation. So it's at this point, it's like it's less about you, it's more as it should be. If you're providing services, it is never about you, and it's always about the patient. And if you really, and in psych too, it's like always you got to kind of like look at yourself before you interact with a patient. And I'm not going to go into the whole like pre orientation phase and stuff like that, but the whole thing is before you interact with somebody, you gotta, especially if you're providing services, you gotta check yourself. Okay, what are my, what do I think about people who smoke? What my biases, you know, judgmental. The whole thing is not being judgmental. Like, what are my biases about people who smoke? What are my biases about people, you know, about people with mental health illnesses? So you got to check that out before you go in. And the whole thing is like you want to offer yourself, like you just want to offer yourself to listen. And the other thing about psych is a lot of the times people who say they don't want to talk are the people who actually want you to listen. So if you come, let's say like you have a friend and your friend is like, leave me alone, I don't want to talk to you, like that's when you should be like, oh okay, yeah, I'm here to listen. Like, ah, you don't care, and I do care, I want to listen. Because sometimes, and especially someone, I'm really changing that, but like the way I was, or the way, I'm putting in the past, but it's like, well, the person doesn't want to talk to me about that, let me not push it. But the thing is, a lot of the times people who are down, people who are sad, people who are going through a lot, they might be very like in a very bad place. And even though they're saying that, they think everybody just doesn't like them, they think nobody loves them. So it's like, even though they say leave me alone, that actually means listen. This is when it actually means listen if you're a provider, because you need to build that trust with them, be like, I'm here to listen. um and again, it's easy because it's never about you, it's about them. So like you gotta let them talk and figure it out on their own. Like sometimes they just want somebody to just be there and understand. And another thing about psych is like, even though you acknowledge what they're saying, it doesn't necessarily mean you agree. So it's like somebody's coming to tell you, I don't know I can't think of an example right now, but I remember I had a friendship where I didn't necessarily agree with his way of thinking about life, like in terms of religion, in terms of this, like we had completely different like ways to look at it. The best thing to have done in that case was to just be like, oh okay, so you're saying so and so and so, and you think so and so and so, and not try to push and say no, rejecting, you are wrong, this is how life is actually. But when you think about it, as humans, we're flawed. We have positive things about us, we have negative things about us, and it's not just fair to kind of say, you're wrong or you're right. Another thing about psych is like, if somebody says they want to kill themselves, like you need to take that seriously. Like you need to take it seriously, because they've already thought about it, already had it. It seems like they already have so many reasons not to live. So you need to take them seriously and ask them, do you have a plan? Are you thinking about that now? Like take them seriously. Yeah. So, and you want to seek clarification. Like let's say somebody says something to you and you think it might mean that, so you're like, that's how I am sometimes. I'm like seriously. But then you're like, you can, instead of being like that, you can be like, so what did you mean by this? Maybe the person meant something else that is completely different, you know what I mean? And you already kind of like put your guards up about something. But when you seek clarification about what a patient is saying or someone, it's like it shows you're interested in what they're saying, and it shows that you care, and hopefully you care. Hopefully you care, because it will show if you don't care at all. And another thing in psych is just HIPAA. It's very difficult. So you gotta know like when to put out information and when not to put out information, and how to put out information. Um, yeah, like a good example would be like, let's say, because I'm a nurse, let's say you're working at a hospital, or let's say you're working in a long-term care setting, and they call you, or a mental health setting especially, and someone calls you, can I talk to so and so? And it's kind of like hard, like you gotta know who is on the list that they can call in terms of help. So you gotta know that, so you can politely say, well, I cannot reveal any information about my patient at the hospital, like that. And so that's just knowing when to give out information. Let's say you're in a room, and a lot of instances happen with me where I was not a lot, like one, I was in a room, I was interacting with my patient, and her daughter came in to visit, and we were talking about her history and what the doctor is doing and stuff. And I noticed, oh, the daughter is there, and I didn't want to go into that other aspect of her diagnosis, because I'm like, I actually don't know if your daughter knows about this, or if like I should continue with this conversation. So I was like, I'm gonna stop. I'll talk to you later. And there were even some times where I had built trust, or I had built like what they call rapport with my patient, and it was time to go. It was very sad. It was time to go, and she was like, "Oh, would you come and visit me tomorrow?" And I was like, "I don't know if I'm gonna be on the floor tomorrow." And then she was like, "Well, you're gonna be on the second floor. You can come and visit me." So you gotta think about that. It's like boundaries, like boundaries if you're working as a nurse, boundaries as a, even in life, it's like you gotta have boundaries. I forgot the word for that. Like even with your patient, you cannot just come and like reveal things about yourself. So you gotta know, like, I guess, like I said, with me, like I have, like I'm in a situation now. I'm still like in a situation that I gotta get out, but you gotta know who to give out information to and who not to give information to, because like, no, as a nurse, okay, yeah, I guess in general, as a nurse, when I say give out information, you can give a little bit about yourself that will help them notice something about them to make them grow. Not just give them something to satisfy your emotional. Let's say, you know how we go to therapists, just to satisfy your emotional like thing. So yeah, don't give approval to nothing because it shows that you know better. Don't say, "Oh, that looks good. You did really great today," because that just shows you're giving approval for something. Just focus on the objective data. Like, I remember one of my friends, I think he's really good. Like, he should be a psych. One of my friends, like, I think the reason I opened up to him so much was because, like, he was very non-judgmental. I'm sure he didn't agree with a lot of what I said. He was very non-judgmental. And a lot of the times it's like, let's say instead of saying, "Oh, you look good today. Oh my God, you're so beautiful." Like, "Oh, I noticed you changed your hair today." Something like that. "Oh, I noticed you brushed your teeth." Or not like, "Oh my God, your teeth look so beautiful. You're so cute." Like, no, you need to be objective. So that is that for psych, and I hope I didn't go over like 15 minutes. um I'm gonna go get something to eat, and maybe I'll come back and talk about the different disorders um and how different they are and the meds for them. Thank you for watching my video. Peace.